My mac and cheese is creamy, cheesy and spiked with piccalilli to add extra flavour. The difference with this macaroni cheese is that there's no white sauce. It's all cheese. First, put your pan on a low heat. Then add 350 grams of grated cheddar. So I've already cooked and cooled the pasta. And that's kind of the start of every good macaroni cheese, is to have the macaroni cooked, cooled, ready. I like to just kind of agitate the cheese a little bit. And this is the bit where there's no actual white sauce. I'm not making a basic white sauce. I'm melting the cheese down. I just say, you know what, cut out the middleman. If you want to eat mac and cheese, I got mac and I got me some cheese. Why do we need a white sauce? Keep stirring the cheddar until it melts down. So look. Like, as I'm moving it around, the cheese is starting to melt and you're getting this kind of really thick, cheesy sauce. So now we've got like what looks like liquid cheese. Now, my pre-boiled macaroni, I'm gonna whack that lot in there, all of it, get it all in. I'm using 250 grams of macaroni. Right now, the cheese has kind of clung itself to the macaroni, and this is just gonna get richer and more delicious. So I've got a whole egg, crack the egg in, keep the heat really low, and then just mix the egg in. I'm not making a macaroni cheese so it's light. I want it to be rich and thick, and I want it to fill me up and give me a big cuddle on the inside. Mix in 180 grams of cream cheese and a pinch of salt. I mean, that's it. If you wanted to have a macaroni cheese that was just a mac and cheese, that's it. But I like the contrast of creamy, thick mac and cheese with something a little bit sharp, and that's where my piccalilli comes in. I love piccalilli. It's got all of my favourite flavours, turmeric, mustard, cumin, love all those flavours. Cut into bite-sized pieces. Not only does the piccalilli add colour, it also adds crunch. So when you go in and have that soft mac and cheese, in between you'll get that odd crunch of those tangy vegetables. Get that straight in there. You don't need much. A little bit goes a really long way. Mix in a teaspoon of onion seeds. Pour the mix into a casserole dish, making sure it's level on the top. This mac and cheese does not need any more cheese. All it needs is a crumbly topping. To make the crispy topping, add 50 grams of melted butter to 100 grams of dried breadcrumbs and mix together. Sprinkle over the pasta so it's completely covered. And all that needs is to be baked for 30 minutes so the macaroni is piping hot and the crumbs on top are lovely and crisp and golden. Look at that. Oh, listen to the sounds it makes. Oh, it's calling me. Eat me. See, I would serve that just as it is while it's still bubbling and squeaking and making lots of noise. Macaroni cheese doesn't have to just be a side dish. It can be a main event too. Piccalilli mac and cheese. A simple but impressive lunch for your guests. My next dish is a joy to make, and the real treat is that it's so simple. And to be honest, anything where there's less mess makes me very happy. My kids always look forward to this chicken and rice bake. To them, it's a warming treat that just says home. For me, an easy dish with little washing up. Bonus treat. The first thing I'm going to do is start with an onion, like all good things do. So I'm going to chop up my onion nice and fine. And every tray bake needs a tray, of course. And in this one, I've got some clarified butter. I love the smell of clarified butter. If you don't have it or you don't want to use it, you can use butter, you can use olive oil, use whatever you like. And whack my onions in there. Cook until soft and then add 3 finely chopped cloves of garlic. I realised the importance of a tray bake when I had a family. It's something about being able to whack everything in one dish put it in the oven, not really think about it, and know that you can just present something at the end that's wholesome and that's delicious and that didn't take that much work and, most importantly, didn't use up every pan in the house. So I'm just gonna leave the onions and then just get started on my chicken. And I like to keep the skin on my drumsticks because as they bake, they get lovely and crispy on the outside. I love chicken skin.
Coat the chicken with 2 tablespoons of oil so that the spice rub will stick.
And if I'm going to save on washing, I'm not even going to take this out of the container. I'm just going to leave it as it is.
For the spice rub, mix 1 teaspoon each of onion powder, garlic powder, cayenne pepper and salt.
The reason why I love using powdered spices is because you get that even coating of flavour all across the chicken. I'm going to take 2 cardamom pods. I love this stuff. Cardamoms have like 2 settings. Like you could add this cardamom and it'd impart this like gentle, flowery flavour. Or you could whack it open and take all those little seeds out and like, and it just really kind of hits you. And I want it to hit me. I'm going to whack that straight into my onions.
Add 270 grams of basmati rice to the onions, garlic and cardamom.
I'm going to add my chicken straight in. So rice is in, chicken's in, hot stock. If you don't have hot stock at home, you can just use boiling water. So the stock is hot. And what that does is it already starts the cooking process. And you don't need that much because all that chicken is going to release a little bit of moisture and all that flavour is going to go into that stock.
Cover with foil and bake at 200 degrees for 30 minutes.
Look at that. If you could smell, that clarified butter and the onions and all those spices. Oh my goodness, it's such a good smell. Right, one last thing to finish this off is some frozen peas. By adding them now, just at the last minute, the peas retain their lovely, vibrant green colour, and I don't need a side dish. My veg is already in my tray bake. So I'm going to pop this back in the oven, just enough time to cook the peas and just to get a lovely, crisp, golden top on the chicken. 10 more minutes and dinner will be at the table.
To finish, garnish with a handful of chopped coriander.
We've got chicken, we've got rice, we've got vegetables, but it's in one tray.
And that's a treat for the person doing the washing up.
So I didn't really grow up in a family where people had Sunday lunch. My family members didn't, my extended family, nobody. It wasn't a thing. But I heard the word Sunday lunch. I was like, what is this Sunday lunch all about? Everyone has their way of doing it, and this is my way. This is kind of our way. And maybe one day, or at least I'm hopeful that one day my kids will say, this is the way my mum taught us. Slightly unconventional, but who cares?
If there's one meal of the week that's worth that extra bit of effort, it's Sunday lunch, our way.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to spatchcock my chicken. Because it's not whole and it's kind of spread out flat, it'll cook faster. All you need is a chicken and a good pair of kitchen scissors. So you turn the chicken around and then your scissors literally just go right down. And this is why it has to be sharp. You're going right through the bone. Oh yeah, it's a bit of a satisfying sound, crunching bones. Just going to turn it round, back onto its back. And then just a bit of brute force, some more bone crunching. That's quite pretty, that is, look at that. See, I don't need a butcher for this, I can do this myself. This is the bit that makes this our Sunday roast. Growing up, whenever my grandma cooked chicken, if you didn't put ginger and garlic in your chicken, she was like, no, you've always got to put ginger and garlic. And that's kind of when I think chicken, I think ginger and garlic, always.
So a pinch of salt goes in with 2 teaspoons of ground ginger and 2 of garlic granules.
And this is the really fun bit.
Use your fingers to create a gap between the skin and flesh for the spicy paste.
I want to get that ginger and that garlic all the way down to the drumstick, but I don't want it to fall out. So it's good to kind of create that pocket and not go all the way through. But if you haven't experienced this, you need to do this at least once. This is great.
Spoon in the mixture until you've got a good covering all over.
I'm just going to turn it round. I want to roast it in the oven, skin side down.
But we all know a roast isn't just about the meat. No Sunday lunch is complete without a huge helping of roasties. I've parboiled some roughly chopped potatoes for around 6 minutes. And then the fun bit.
That's it, just a little bit of a shake about. Just a bit of a... let off a bit of steam. Okay, yeah, that's kind of looking good. Now, I'm gonna get my baking powder. I know, it seems really unusual, but you're gonna have to trust me on this.
When you add the baking powder, the potatoes will start to fizz.
I might be a little bit insane, but there's something about fizzy potatoes that says to me that they're going to be really, really crunchy. Maybe it's all in my head.
I'm not crazy. The baking powder really will make your roasties extra crispy.
I've grown up eating clarified butter in lots of dishes, and I like that flavour of the clarified butter. Let's give clarified butter a go. Now, I will not make my roast potatoes without clarified butter. And I want my kids to go off to university and say, my mum makes the best roast potatoes.
Pour the potatoes in with the butter and season well. Then the potatoes and chicken could go in the oven to bake together.
Right, so that's in at 180 for half an hour. And then after half an hour, I'm going to whip off the foil, turn over the chicken, turn over the potatoes, and leave it in for another 20 minutes so they can both come out together.
In the meantime, I can get on with my unconventional tomato gravy.
So into that, I'm going to pop a whole cinnamon stick. I told you I wasn't going conventional.
A couple of cloves of garlic, the re-chopped tomatoes. Season. A tablespoon of tomato puree and tamarind paste, a drop of water, and that chef's little cheat, corn flour.
So it just helps it along, just makes it... I'm not patient. I can't wait for things to thicken by themselves.
Now my chicken and coriander stuffing balls.
When I spatchcock a chicken to cook it, there's nowhere to put the stuffing. This is my way of getting stuffing without somewhere to stuff it, except my mouth. The coriander.
Breadcrumbs, ground coriander, pine nuts, an egg, season and whiz. Then roll into balls and fry.
There you go, look at that. All I've got to do now is just bring it all together. My roast potatoes, that's the sound, listen to that sound. And these are the little cook's treats, the little perks. It's a little bit of hard work. I'm left with 1,000,000 pans to wash, but there is nothing nicer than finishing the week with a Sunday roast, especially because it's our way.
A family favourite that's the highlight of our weekend. This is not your everyday breakfast. It's a real indulgence in my house. My ham and cheese crown is like the daddy of sausage rolls.
Starting the day off with a treat is well worth the effort, and this one puts a smile on everyone's face.
Use 2 packets of ready rolled puff pastry.
For this, you've got to find the biggest bit of work surface that you've got, and then literally just join the 2 ends. And then this is like breakfast, as you'd make breakfast. These are all things that you probably have in your fridge. So I'm going to start off with ketchup.
Mix 4 tablespoons of ketchup with 1 teaspoon of paprika.
So mix that up, and then I'm just going to dollop that all across my pastry.
Spread the mixture all over the pastry, leaving a 1 centimetre border around the outside.
Next, This is my ham. So I don't eat ham, but this is a cooked turkey ham that I can eat. There's no reason why I should miss out. I'm gonna put all the way across. Feeling like breakfast yet? This is not something that I make every single day, but when I do make it, I make 3. And then I put 2 in the freezer, then I keep 1 for us to eat. It looks huge, right? Like too much to eat. It's never too much to eat. So I'm just using a hard cheese. I've just got grated Gouda, but you can use any hard cheese you want. In fact, you could use a soft cheese if you wanted to, but I've got kids, so I've always got blocks of cheese in the fridge all the time.
Brush the edges with egg to help seal the pastry. Now it's ready to roll.
I've got to work really quickly because this stuff gets soft. You could go wild. You could make so many different versions of this. Goat's cheese, spinach. I'm gonna grab my tray, pop it on, and then just kind of, Can you see a crown happening?
Make sure you pinch the ends together so nothing escapes.
I'm gonna cut now, and I'm gonna go all the way down to the bottom, but I'm making sure not to cut all the way across the side. Chop them up so you've got equal segments. But this is the fun bit. So I'm gonna take each little bit and then turn it on its side and then push it down. Roll it over, push it down. I think because I come from a big family, I always anticipate that somebody will come and somebody will need feeding. And when they don't come, I call them and say, hey, I made a ham and cheese crown, do you fancy coming over? And they'll come. It's fun as well. I mean, don't be afraid. There's very little that's gonna stop it from looking pretty. Already look at that. How lovely does that look? That egg that I cracked, I'm gonna use that to brush all over. This is when I think it starts to look really pretty. I've got some black sesame seeds. If you don't have black sesame seeds, you can use poppy seeds as well. And then I'm just gonna finish it off with a bit of rock salt.
Bake in the oven at 200 degrees for 30 minutes.
It looks ready. Oh, it smells like breakfast. That's pretty impressive for breakfast. And that is my ham and cheese crown. Breakfast for a king or a queen.
Nothing beats us all sitting down to my burgers with bacon jam. The kids love them, and they're a big hit with the grown-ups too.
I've got a recipe for a really good bacon jam that works so well in a burger, in toast, crumpets. But in a burger, it is, ugh.
Start by frying chopped garlic and onion.
Now, I don't eat bacon, but thank the Lord someone found an alternative. And this stuff looks like bacon, and I think it might even taste a little bit like bacon. So this is turkey bacon.
But of course, you can use the real stuff if you like. For heat, throw in some chili flakes.
So now, this is kind of more like the jam bit. I've got some brown sugar in a jug, and then to that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of instant coffee granules. It seems like such an unusual thing to do. Something about the coffee brings out that smokiness of the bacon, which really works. And I tried it without the coffee, not so good.
Pour in 125 ml of hot water.
That is the strongest thing you'll ever drink. Just to finish off my jam, I'm going to add some vinegar and then some maple syrup. And maple and bacon, that's a really classic combination. And I'm going to let that cook down on a gentle heat for about an hour.
While that cooks down, I can get on with the burger patties. Start by adding 1 tablespoon of garlic granules to a kilogram of beef mince. Then a teaspoon of onion salt.
And then lots and lots and lots of black pepper. At least like a teaspoon's worth. So I'm going to get my hands straight in and give that a really good mix. I feel so fortunate that I can say every time we get together as a family feels like an occasion, but always made better with burgers, of course.
They'll need around 5 minutes each side to get them nice and crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that, you can see all those crispy bits. Oh. Burger needs a good slab of cheese, and this is smoked cheese. And this stuff is great because it kind of complements the already smoky bacon. Melts, cheese, melts. Right, now, the other little bit that I like on our burgers is a runny egg. Imagine you've got like beef and then you've got cheese and you've got bacon jam and a runny egg. Oh, runny egg is the way. So my patty, beef patty with my cheese. Woohoo! Everything is in that burger. It's sweet, it's salty, it's tangy, it's a little bit sour. Like, I don't like doing things by halves. If I'm gonna have a filthy burger, it's gonna be the filthiest I've ever had. Oh, look at that ooze. It should be so big that it doesn't fit in my mouth. When I make a burger and my family taste it, I want them to say, oh, you know what? That is the best burger I have ever had. And though I may say it myself, it is.
Juicy burgers, tangy turkey bacon jam, and a fried egg. There is nothing better for a family get-together. A hearty stew is perfect when you have people to stay, but I like to liven it up a bit, and I love adding citrus flavours to my savoury dishes.
This chicken stew is such a simple thing to make, but the grapefruit adds a little bit of razzle-dazzle.
To start, mix half a teaspoon of turmeric into a kilo of chicken pieces. I like to use thighs for flavour. Fry the chicken to seal in the turmeric.
So I'm not cooking the chicken all the way through. I just want to kind of colour the outside. And you can see where it's fried. Now suddenly it's gone from being a little bit yellow to really vibrant and yellow. And when turmeric is heated up, the smell is completely different. With a stew, it's about building flavour. And just by frying that chicken beforehand, you're going to get that turmeric, but cooked, light turmeric flavour through the whole stew. So that's my chicken done. And then I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the pan. You see all those lovely bits of chicken, the brown bits on the side? That's what you want. You want all of that because that's going to add flavour. So same pan. I'm saving you up on some washing here as well, remember? And you're going to get like crazy flavour.
Add 3 cloves of chopped garlic.
See, I said turmeric smells nice. Then I go and add garlic to the mix, and it smells incredible in here.
While the garlic softens, finely dice a small onion and add to the pan.
And then I'm going to add a good pinch of salt. And you can see where the onions are quite dry. By adding the salt, it's going to release some of the moisture from the onions.
Then add another half a teaspoon of turmeric, 2 tablespoons of ground cumin, and a teaspoon of chili flakes.
So I've turned the heat down because I've got those dry spices in there and they could burn quite quickly. So I'm just turning it down and letting them kind of cook and toast gently. And in the meantime, I am going to get onto my grapefruit. When I think stew, I think winter, cold, kind of eat it under a duvet on a winter's night. This is where I think this stew is different. This is the kind of stew you can have in the summer because it's zesty and it's fresh. I mean, it's one thing zesting an orange, but grapefruits are a lot bigger. There's a lot more to zest. And then what I want is the juice. This is the kind of thing that I would make if somebody was coming to stay over. You can say to someone, I'm making you a stew for dinner, but what they're not expecting is grapefruit in it. And that's what I like, is the unexpected.
Stir in all the grapefruit juice and add the chicken back into the pan. Add 500 ml of hot water and 2 tablespoons of corn flour mixed with 2 tablespoons of water.
So I'm going to leave that, let that thicken, let it simmer away, and I'm going to go make my couscous. And by the time the couscous is done, the stew will be done and supper will be ready. Then I'm going to add a few knobs of butter, just straight in, and this is going to make it lovely and just a little bit creamy. And then hot water. I like to just kind of pour in one spot and just let the couscous come up. And about, to me, I'd say about a centimetre above the top, that's it.
Cover the couscous and let it soak up the water.
Already, look, it's happening. It's easier than boiling rice.
A handful of fresh parsley brings great colour to the stew.
So the sauce has thickened, the chicken's cooked, and that turmeric that's coated the chicken, that's in the sauce, it's just, and that grapefruit, you can really, really smell that grapefruit. It's making my mouth water. So my couscous is ready.
A pinch of salt to the couscous and you're good to go.
Look how fluffy that couscous is. I mean, look at that. That is a yummy plate of food. You got that lovely spice from the turmeric and that tanginess from the grapefruit and then that lovely fresh parsley on top. I mean, that is a winning combination. You've got to give it a go. I always have a can of chickpeas in my cupboard, and usually I use them to bulk other things out or make the obvious hummus. But in this recipe, the chickpeas take center stage.
My ginger rice with spicy chickpeas is an easy dish to make when there's not much in the cupboard. It's basically dried spices, rice and a can of chickpeas. It's great comfort food. Start by peeling and grating fresh ginger.
As a kid, I remember watching my mum make this. She's made this for as long as I can remember. I don't actually ever remember not seeing her make this. This is the start of lots of rice puddings, I suppose. I've got a little bit. I mean, when I say a little bit, that's all the rice that I'll need. Be surprised, you cook rice slightly differently to the way you were taught to cook rice, and it becomes something completely different.
I use far more water than I normally would to cook the rice.
While that comes to the boil, I'm going to make my chickpeas. And with any luck, the two will be finished together. So for the chickpeas, a good splash of oil. Got an onion. And all good dishes start with an onion. My rice has bubbled up, it's boiled up. I'm going to turn the heat down, and because there's so much water in there, that rice is going to continually kind of absorb that water, and then it will start breaking apart, and that's what I want. When I smell that kind of ginger and the rice, that reminds me of when we were younger and we used to fast and we were living at home. That was a sign that it's nearly time to break your fast. And that's a good feeling, that is.
Add a tablespoon of tomato puree and a fresh chopped tomato.
If it starts to stick, just add a kind of little splash of water, just to kind of unstick it.
Get those spice jars out of the cupboard and add chili powder, turmeric, ground cumin,
Bit of that.
and curry powder. Add both the juice and peel of half a lemon so nothing goes to waste.
And those lemon peels literally going to take a couple of minutes to soften down. And then I'm going to add my chickpeas straight in. And the chickpeas, they're already cooked, so all they need is just a little bit of warming through. So I'm going to just kind of leave them on a low heat, just leave them there. But now check this rice out. Look what's happened. Look at that. That's like gone from cooked to overcooked to swollen to falling apart. And that's what I want. But it needs a little bit help to break it apart. So I'm going to take my spoon out, grab my whisk. I used to watch my mum kind of stand there for ages whisking, thinking, what is she doing? I should just stir it. There's a reason for it. That's not going to break up. No matter how much I boil it, that's not going to turn to mush. It needs the help of a whisk. This is the bit where you have to persevere. I used to hate this job. See, if I wanted to, I could get all modern and stick a stick blender in here. but then that would become a paste and that would not work.
Okay, I admit it, there is a lot of butter, 200 grams, but it transforms the rice.
And now I just keep whisking. And this is kind of like almost emulsifying it. And it goes from being like a nice rice pudding to like eye-wateringly something else. So my rice pudding's done. All I need is some coriander.
Mix in coriander and it's ready to serve.
That for me is it's home on a plate. That is my comfort. And then with those spicy chickpeas on top, it's like comfort, filling, mum, all in a bowl. And all I've got to do is find myself a nice spot on the couch and get comfortable.
Ginger rice with spicy chickpeas. It takes dinner from a can to a whole new level.
The one thing that drags my lot out of bed on a Saturday morning is a cooked breakfast. And this smoky spinach shakshuka does the trick.
Shakshuka is a traditional Middle Eastern breakfast that literally means a mixture. It's packed with flavour and my one is dead simple. It all starts with chopped garlic and oil.
So cooking up the garlic till it's just kind of a light brown. And I'm going to add some spring onion.
Season and add a spoonful of tomato puree.
It's got a rich, deep, concentrated flavour of tomato that you don't get with just tomatoes alone. My dad used to collect these and then dry them up and then scare us and say, look, there's a spider in my hand. My kids are at the age where they're still waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, ideally, I'd love it if they slept in a little bit longer, but our weekends start very early and end very late. So they need feeding all the time. So that is perfect. It's cooked down. You can see all the tomatoes are kind of like all mushy. That only takes a few minutes. And now I'm going to add my spices. I've got my smoked paprika. I love this stuff. Oh my goodness, I put this in everything. And then I'm going to add some cumin seeds. And now I'm going to add my spinach. So just be careful because they have a tendency of kind of going everywhere. A bit, right, so see what I mean? There you go, look. Spinach seems to want to always go rogue. It never stays put. Saturday mornings is the only time in the entire week where we just get to just sit and we can relax and we can just kind of enjoy being a family. Right now, this is when the kids come running in and they'll say they want to crack the eggs in, but not today. I'm going to leave the fun bit for me. And I just pop the lid on.
It'll just take a few minutes for the whites of the eggs to poach. It's the perfect moment to toast some bread.
And this is a great way to do toast on a griddle. Ow, burn your fingers. And look at that, that's got like rich, smoky spinach sauce around the outside, and the egg whites have just cooked, just poached, but the yolks I can see are still runny, and that is perfect. And then just to finish it off, I like to add just a sprinkling of chili flakes. This is such a good way to start our morning, making sure that it's given us enough fuel for the rest of the day.
Smoky spinach shakshuka, the perfect start to a wind-down weekend. This dish is perfect for freezing, so on those busy weekdays you have a delicious homemade ready meal that can be on the table in no time.
When I make a fish pie, you get these great bags of seafood mix, and they've usually got, they change around, they're not always the same. This one has got undyed smoked haddock, we've got some cod, some salmon, some squid rings, some prawn. So it's just like I just pick it up and that's my seafood mix. Woo!
The first job is to add the fish to some warm milk. While it poaches, it flavours the milk. After 3 to 4 minutes, the fish is ready to come out.
The first ever white sauce I ever made was at school. And coming from a Bangladeshi home, white sauce was like, where are the chilies? Where's the coriander? Where are the spices? It was completely alien to me. But once you can nail just one white sauce, the possibilities are endless. Lasagna, macaroni, cheese sauce. I mean, there are so many things you can do with one base. So this is such a good one to learn and just keep in the library of recipes in your head.
Throw into a pan equal amounts of unsalted butter and plain flour. Give it a quick stir before adding in the warm milk, a ladle at a time.
What you don't want to do is be tempted and add all the milk at once. A little at a time, slowly, gradually thickening it. That's really important.
When it's a smooth, creamy consistency, you can add in the flavour. I like powdered mustard, a good pinch of salt, and for a mild oniony hit, I love chopped chives. And then my secret weapon, hard-boiled eggs.
And this is just one of those things that I've always done. I like mixing them through the fish pie because once you've chopped them up, you kind of expose that yolk. And as it mixes through, it makes it even creamier. So the first time I ever ate a fish pie was when I was at high school, and I thought it was disgusting. Although I liked the mash and it was really lumpy, but I wasn't used to eating mash, so I didn't know what good mash was. They would top the fish pie with an ice cream scoop. I remember that. It's really weird. And there was these big pimples of mashed potato.
Once all the eggs are in, pour in the cooked seafood and then add some frozen peas.
Straight in, frozen, no need to defrost. I'm just being really gentle not to kind of break anything up too much and just mixing it around, and that's it. That's it. So I've got a pie dish ready, extra large, half for eating now, half for eating later. This is gonna save me next week when I feel like having a fish pie and I have one in the freezer. It's like, oh, no work. Always, always think ahead. Now for the crumble bit.
I'm starting off with 225 grams of unsalted butter and 150 grams of plain flour.
And this does make a really welcome change to a normal fish pie if you don't want the potato on top. Or, you know what, if you don't have potatoes at home.
When the butter and flour are like breadcrumbs, mix in some oats and season.
And then I'm gonna add some cayenne because I have to keep reminding myself this is not an apple crumble, it's a seafood crumble. It's savoury.
And then some crispy fried onions. After a mix, spoon the crumble evenly over the fish.
And there you have it, seafood crumble. So if you're making this in advance, you can just cover it up and freeze it now. But I'm baking mine now at 200 degrees for 25 minutes.
My family love this crumble with garlic bread. And don't forget, there's still some in the freezer for next week. Biryani is a rice-based dish full of wonderful Indian spices. Make it in advance and just heat it up when you get home to top off a great day.
Now I'm adding more water than I need because what I want to do is create lots of room for the rice to, as it bubbles up, to move around in. Not enough water and not enough room to move is like a cardinal sin with rice making.
Add a cinnamon stick and a good sprinkle of saffron.
So you can see as soon as the saffron hits the water and it starts to heat up, it goes a lovely yellow. So while that rice cooks, I'm gonna get started on the sauce. Right, get that on a high heat, and then I'm gonna add some butter.
The secret to my biryani is to use a lot less fat and oil than a traditional recipe to keep it fresh and light. Start by browning garlic in hot butter, then cook onions till they're soft.
So you have to kind of keep an eye on both. Make sure, Myra, look at that colour, it's like liquid gold. So you can see it's kind of cooked, but there are white bits still left in the centre, which means that I need to take that off right now. Right, Let's go and drain that quickly. That's my rice done.
For the rest of the sauce, add lemon juice, finely chopped rind, chili, turmeric, and Indian 5-spice, which is a blend of fenugreek, cumin, brown mustard, fennel, and nigella seeds.
Some clever clogs came up with this blend, and I love it. Right, now that's it. Now for my prawns. For something like this, I like to use uncooked prawns because as they cook, they kind of release a bit of moisture, but they also got that lovely flavour, so I like using raw prawns. I'm just kind of cooking the prawns till they're just very slightly pink, and then I'm going to turn the heat off because they're going to have another cook. When I layer the biryani, they'll cook, they'll steam in their own juices.
With the prawns coated in the spicy sauce, add fresh parsley.
So I've got my rice cooked, drained, prawns cooked, ready to go. All I've got to do is layer.
To get my biryani lovely and crispy, I coat my pot in olive oil first. Add half the rice, and then layer on the spicy prawns, finishing off with the rest of the rice.
I mean, look at that. That's gorgeous and yellow, and that's just from the saffron. And if you could smell it, you'd smell that cinnamon. I mean, and there's no food colouring, no food dye in sight. I mean, it looks like a pot of yellow rice right now, but you and I both know what's happening down here. So whack it on high heat for 5 minutes. And what this is going to do is, as soon as it hits that high heat, it's going to create this crust around the bottom, around the edge. And then as soon as you've done that for 5 minutes, turn it down. Now, there are loads of ways of serving biryani. And the way I like to do it is to tip it up onto a plate and mix it all around. I'm going to take the lid off. Look at that. You can see where all the rice is steamed in the middle. And then you've got that kind of like the drier bits, the crispier bits of rice around the edge. I'm going to get my dish, pop that on top, say a little prayer. Okay, I'm stuck. I'm really stuck. I'm just being a total wimp. I am my dad's daughter and I will turn this pot round. Oh, I got it. Woo, okay. Get every last grain out because they're the best bits. Look at that. You've got those deliciously lemony scented prawns. You've got the saffron rice, and you can still smell that cinnamon all in one pot. I mean, are you really going to order another biryani ever again? I hope not, because that is one wicked way to be welcomed home.
Prawn saffron biryani. If you make this in advance, all you have to do when you come home is heat it up. So this is my vegetarian jollof pilau with salted cucumber, inspired by my first ever taste.
So the first thing I want to do is make up my spice mix, and I always make enough so I've got loads, so I can use it on chicken and fish. I can use it on lots of different things.
Throw in a load of chili flakes, some garlic granules, ground ginger, dried thyme.
And then cinnamon, lots of cinnamon. Woo!
Then some nutmeg, dried coriander, and ground black pepper.
And a good pinch of salt. Give it a shake. Now, before I even start my rice, I'm going to soak my rice. So I've got basmati rice, and I like basmati rice because it's long grains and it's a really great one in a pilau.
Soaking it in water will help it cook quicker. While it soaks, I can make the salad to accompany the pilau. Chop a cucumber into thin slices. Then add some sliced red onion and a good helping of rock salt.
And I promise you, That's not like an over-seasoned salad. I will be washing all this salt off. What the salt is doing, it's drawing out the moisture from the cucumber, from the onion, kind of taking away the zing from the onion. So it'll season it, but it'll soften it at the same time.
Next is the base to the pilau. And of course, that means chopped onions and oil.
Season it.
Once the onions are a golden brown, they are ready. Then, as this is a vegetarian dish, I'm adding some veggie meat. It's great to bulk it out.
And at the same time, it kind of absorbs all that flavour.
Now add around 4 tablespoons of the spicy jollof seasoning.
So my little pieces are coated in that spice. And now all I have to do is drain off my rice. We have this thing at home when we're making pilau. Who can tip the bowl the furthest without the rice falling out? No. Look, that's almost upright. There's nobody here to see me win this race. See that? Expert. I have to get every grain out. I can hear my mum's voice. Just say, your granddad works so hard to grow rice. Don't you dare waste a grain.
Pour in boiling water until it's around 2 centimeters above the rice.
Right now, turn the heat up. Now stir. You want to evaporate that water really quickly. It makes me really proud to say that my granddad was a rice farmer. He makes lots of people happy. As soon as it starts to thicken up and you have what looks like the makings of a pilau, turn it down completely to the lowest possible setting. Say goodnight. Don't look at it, just leave it. Trust that it will take 15 minutes to just steam up and you will have perfect pilau.
Now rinse off the salad and serve.
It's ready. It is perfect just the way it is. Just serve it just like that alongside that salty, crunchy salad. And that is a pilau even my mum would be proud of.
If you're looking for a veggie rice dish for family guests, look no further than this pilau. They won't be disappointed.